Scrambler. It's a cute little bike, but it's got a full-size motor in it.
Test ride on the Ducati Monster. I think, is this the standard or the SP? It has a steering dampener, so it might be the SP.
It looks like it's got beefy exhaust on it, so...
It'll say SP on the... Yeah, this is the SP. Okay, Ducati Monster SP. This bike is $15,449 or something similar.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the standard Ducati Monster is in the $12,000 range, which is actually, so this is a 937, so it's right at 1,000 cc's, just under. This is the most bang for your buck Ducati that you are going to find. It's the cheapest bike in the Ducati lineup that is not the Scrambler 800. So that's kind of what we're going for with this one. Is it's very affordable for what it is if you go with the standard. Now the SP tax on that like $3,500, but for that money you're gonna get better suspension, you're gonna get better braking, you get the steering dampener, probably a few other things that I'm not remembering to say on camera, but it's the high option version of this motorcycle. But if you like customizing your stuff on your own, then maybe you go with the standard Ducati Monster. But it's very comfortable. I'm in a perfect seating position. My knees are nice and clear. I'm not hitting anything with my knees like I was on the Street Fighter. Here we are on a Monster. This is the bike I really wanted to ride today. I've always really liked the way that the Ducati Monsters looked. And there's Caleb on the Scrambler.
I probably look pretty awkward on this bike.
No, you look good.
It's a pretty small bike.
It is a small bike.
Pretty close to the pegs on this bike. It's definitely geared for a little smaller person, which is fine. That's good.
I really enjoyed riding the Scrambler in North Carolina last year because it was just so light and maneuverable and little. His bike is so loud.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's super nimble feeling. The transmission is a peach in this bike. It's super tight.
Is it because the one that I rode, the shifting and transmission and everything felt real shitty, but it
really?
had been, it was a used bike, probably not maintained in the best way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of janky, but that was probably a maintenance issue and not an issue with the bike itself.
Are these made in Italy, or are they...
I think so, yeah.
Outsourced, if you will. I'll have to verify that. The brakes are nice. The seating position's good. I'm a little tucked up, like I said, but these little back roads, kind of neighborhood roads that we're riding through, this is the bike. It's super nimble,
yeah.
Super lightweight, super just easy to maneuver. It's good for scrambling.
Yeah, it's a great little city hopper. Urban mobility, as BMW likes to say.
Oh boy. It's got some pep. It's got some pep.
I love the Monster. I think the Monster is my favorite. It just, you know, that's a hard question to answer though. If you say like, what's your favorite Ducati? I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do with it. But
yeah, they're all kind of awesome.
They are all awesome in their own ways. I like that the Monster is a little more obtainable just because, you know, you're starting at like 12 and some change, 12 something thousand dollars versus some of these
like
others are so
$30+
expensive.
$1,000 multi.
But I like a naked bike. I like a kind of sporty naked bike. I like a platform like this. You know, and comparing it to a lot of the bikes that are similar to this, so the 890 Duke, the Z900 or the MT-09, you know, you're kind of right in that range. There's about a $3,000 range that you're looking at when you're looking for a bike of this type. All of those that I just mentioned are fantastic bikes, the Monster included. I think at the end of the day, the Monster's a high contender just because Ducati has such charisma and character to it, you know. Although I do really like Yamaha, so there's that too. But
yeah, that's the thing. It's like nowadays I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard to find a bad bike. You know, you gotta kind of feel you gotta ride them and kind of feel out what's best for you, is because they're all very similar, but they're all so different.
right,
Like the character of these Ducatis is just, in my opinion, unparalleled.
but this Monster, the sitting position is fantastic. You know, you're leaned forward and it's kind of aggressive, but you're not all the weight on your arms, you know, like you are on some bikes. So sitting position is good. You know, the lean angle that I have to get to the handlebars is really good. You know, the pegs are tucked up on you because you're riding a sporty bike, but still comfortable even with long legs.
I can't keep up with my big brothers.
Oh no! So you're on the 800 then?
This bike is adequately powerful, but it ain't no Diavel or Monster
Yeah.
SP. So
Well, maybe we won't drag race past the church. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, you got a head start!
that's the only way I can win.
I got you though.
You said ready.
That's a considerable difference. I mean, you're 800 and I'm 937. That's not a big difference in cc's.
Right, but that's a liquid-cooled badass of an engine, and this is air-cooled. Well, oil-cooled.
Hey, both bikes are still awesome though, but man, I'm kind of drooling over a Monster now. I really like this bike. This might be on my list of, okay, so I have all these different lists of how I categorize bikes. One of the lists that I have is the I would buy that list. Like, I would actually spend my money on that. Versus, I have other lists that are like, yeah, I'll ride that. Or, you know, this is the I want list. But if I'm looking at I would spend my own money on that list.
Have you bumped it to I need that list?
I can't hear you over the exhaust in front of me.
Have you bumped it to I need that?
This? No, not, no, but give me a couple of days to think about riding it today and then it might get there. Usually my I need that list, the list of bikes that I'm like, man, if I had money I would buy this right now. That list is, you don't just get put on that list. That's something that, you know, when you're interested in a bike and you've been thinking about it for months and you've been really wanting to ride one, like, that's that list. It's totally separate.
Hot take, the Goldwing is on that list for me.
Oh yeah, the Goldwing's on that list for sure.
It's one of my favorite bikes I've ever ridden. It's ridiculous.
I would definitely own a Goldwing. But if you had $26,000 to spend on motorcycles, would you buy the Goldwing first, or would you buy two bikes that are in the price range of the Ducati Monster?
I would buy Monster and a lot of tires, probably, just to be honest.
Well, yeah, but if you're thinking of just the motorcycle, like I would buy the Monster, and then I'd probably buy a Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE.
Yeah,
that's a good combo, because then you have something.
It's like if you have an adventure bike, it fits in so many slots. Like I can easily travel comfortably on my adventure bike.
For sure.
So now I need something different. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's why I like the naked sport bike. So that's a high priority item on my I need list. Like I'm not going to put another adventure bike high on the I need list because I already have an adventure bike. So I need something that's like a sporty naked bike or a sporty touring bike that's like more tailored
I'll say this
towards that.
About this Scrambler, my leg is hot at this light.
Yeah,
I tell you.
I'm a little toasty myself sitting on this Monster.
They did a good job with the multi-strata. Like it wasn't just wafting heat up on me, surprisingly. But this bike and the Desert X was hot.
But of all the Ducatis that I've ridden so far, if I was ready to purchase something today, I would purchase the Monster, I think. Like this is what I would buy. But I'd buy the standard for 12 something and not the SP.
He's saving lives up there with that exhaust. Oh my goodness. That bike is so loud.
I just don't know that it's worth the extra $3,500 for...
You get radically better brakes, don't you?
It's, better brakes, better suspension, you get a steering dampener, different exhaust.
And it comes with all that? It's worth all that.
I'm not sure if there's a difference in ride mode capabilities.
Comes on there and you don't have to make me install it. Yeah, it's worth it. That's the way. The better braking system is that's probably a good upgrade.
Yeah, but then you're talking about, the other bikes in this class are between $9,000 and $12,000. This one already starts at $12,900 something for the standard, and then if you jump up to the 15, so you're looking at, you could get a Yamaha NT09 that's fantastic for like 10, or you could get this for 15 plus. You know what I mean? Like when you start looking at that cost comparison, what do you choose?
I like my Yamahas, but I don't know. I'm partial to Euro trash. I'm not gonna lie. I would probably go for the Ducati.
The character of the Ducati is worth something, for sure.
For sure.
Woo, my legs are hot.
I'm good now that we've got moving, but when you sit on this bike, you are
Mine
cooking.
are hot right now. Are you taking this bike next?
Yeah. All right. Here's the Monster. Look at the little windscreen, yeah.
You can go in front this time. I've been in front on all of these.
I'm excited about this bike.
All right, test ride on the Ducati Scrambler. Man, I feel so goofy on this bike.
It is kind of goofy, huh?
It's the handlebars.
Yeah.
A flatter bar would not be as goofy feeling.
On that bike I felt too close to the pegs. I can't love it. I like the power delivery, the seat's comfortable and stuff, but it just feels not very well balanced.
It's a very cramped bike, the Scrambler. This is the 800. I don't know if the 1100 is better, but for the 800, it's definitely a cramped bike, except for the handlebars. I feel like I'm riding with like ape hangers on this thing.
Yeah. So one thing I like about this bike is because it's a V-twin, L-twin, radial twin, whatever you want to call it, it's very narrow. I love that. Something like an MT-10, they're wide because you got to stick that 4-cylinder engine in there. Also, radial twin power delivery. I'm just biased. Radial twin power delivery is my favorite. I've always been a V-twin guy. Not talking about Harleys. I just mean radial twins like this, or what comes in the KTMs. I'm just partial to that power delivery and engine setup. So right off the bat, I love this. I feel at home. I love the power delivery in the sense that it's very easy to modulate your lane position because you've got gobs of torque. Got a nice wide seat on it. Feels good. It's an aggressive seating position, obviously. It's a sporty bike, but it's not so aggressive, you know. I think Marissa mentioned earlier, it's not an RSV4, which is a legit track bike, but I mean, I could ride all day on this.
Yeah, you're lean forward, but your weight's not all in your arms.
Right.
You know, and if you really take off, you can. Right. I'm gonna call this bike the Ducati Scrambler Highball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because of the handlebars here. Because of my apes. I really do feel like I mean, I know it's not quite this bad. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I do feel like my grips are like up parallel with my shoulders. Very tall. Strange, but you know, it's easy to swap out a handlebar, so not a big problem.
Oh man. So I started out on sport bikes. I've got a lot of experience on sport bikes, and I've ridden a lot of them, and I've ridden older monsters too. I really like the older ones. I might have to add this one to my need list.
Yeah, I
Holy
really like
crap.
I really like the Monster. The sitting position is super comfortable. It's very nimble. Suspension is great. I mean, really everything about it is perfect. It's just, it's expensive, you know, compared to everything else in its class that's directly comparable. It's one of the pricier options.
The suspension is tight, but not so tight that it's just completely uncomfortable riding around on the road. I mean, I could do a long trip on this, no problem.
Yeah, the little bumps and stuff are not like jarring you. When I was riding the Street Fighter, every little crack in the pavement was jarring.
I really like how narrow it is, just because it's more comfortable to sort of grip the bike and hold yourself on the bike and hold yourself in a good sort of track riding position. Versus a wide bike, my hips wear out so fast just trying to hold on.
Yeah, and on the Street Fighter I felt like I slid around in the seat a lot, but on the Monster I felt very planted.
The seat is very comfortable on this. I mean, for a sport bike.
I know I already said it, but I'm gonna say it again. I feel goofy on this bike.
I did too. That's why I said that when you looked at me. I was like,
Okay, I believe you now.
yeah.
I kind of feel like I'm riding a little bit bigger Honda Monkey.
Right.
Like that's
right. That's it. It's a rowdy monkey.
The Gorilla.
The gorilla.
It's one of those with the red butt.
Oh, this thing is... I'm in love with this. Good job, guy.
Okay,
Good job.
okay, we're gonna
Good
do
signal.
a legit drag race here, though. The Monster just looks good.
It looks good. It sounds good. It feels good. Like I said, I'm partial to the radial twins. So, I mean, before I ever even got on this bike, I knew I was going to love it. So, I mean...
Yeah. Oh, I'm running low on gas.
I'm very partial to the sort of naked sport bike. You know, it's
Me too. I've
just
been wanting
upright
something.
enough. You get a handlebar, so you're just upright enough. Easy to adjust the riding position.
I've been wanting something in that category for quite a while now.
Now, the question is, the real question is, this or a Tuono?
All right, are we going?
Sure.
Go.
Curse my fatness. I started a gear high, but...
You started a gear high, and I held that gear the whole time. I didn't shift.
Yeah, I should have started in first.
I was ringing her out.
So, the real question, is this the Ducati Monster SP or a Tuono?
Ooh. That is a hard question. I like the styling of a naked bike better than the styling of the more fared Aprilia.
My thing about the Aprilia is I'm afraid, I realize we're talking about reliability of Italian bikes here, but I'm afraid the Aprilia would not be as reliable long term as this monster.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that it's really not a fair comparison, because you're talking about a 937cc twin versus a
1100 V4. No, I'm aware of that, but they are very similar. If money wasn't an issue and I didn't have to work on it, I would get the Tuono. But this is more comfortable than the Tuono.
Yeah, the Tuono's definitely, you're lean forward more.
Yeah, you're further forward, it's more aggressive riding position, the seat's not as comfortable. It's way faster.
Way faster. But that's not necessarily always...
Do you need that? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily always a good thing either, because if I had a Tuono, I would just get in trouble.
Yeah, I would lose my license. And this is rowdy enough to where I could have fun but not lose my license.
Exactly, yeah. You have fun, you can still keep up with your friends on whatever kind of sporty bikes they're on.
Right.
But you're not going to be as inclined to do real stupid stuff.
This is also more accessible. The Tuono, if you haven't sat on one, is tall.
That's true.
I feel like I'm sitting on my 990 Adventure when you're on one of those. You're just barely getting the ground. Much more aggressive bike.
I really enjoy the Scrambler though. It's just
that's a fun little bike.
It's a fun little
No
bike.
doubt.
I think it starts at like just under $10,000. And I mean, hey, I got going pretty quick there. That's 70 miles an hour like in 4 seconds, 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, it's rowdy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
no doubt.
You know, it's not slow by any means, but it's definitely not as punchy as the monster you're riding, but...
No, it's adequate.
Yeah, definitely. If my goal was to have a bike that I like beat bop around the city, to and from work, maybe an occasional Saturday ride, you know, that kind of thing, the Ducati Scrambler is a great option for that. It's very comfortable. I mean, I did 4 days on one last summer, and I was comfortable the whole time. I had a lot of fun the whole time, very nimble in corners. Is it on my spend money on this list? Probably not, because I would want something a little more than this 800.
It's not even that for me.
Maybe
the seating position is weird.
Maybe,
you're so close to the pegs.
Maybe the 1100. I haven't ridden the 1100 Scrambler, so, but then also you're not in the same price category, so.
The quick shifter is so nice on this bike.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing you get with the SP that you don't get with the standard, I think.
I'd have to check my notes. I think you get it on both.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, I'm in love with this bike. And at the end of the day, I think it would be easier to work on and cheaper to get into and cheaper to own over the long term than a Tuono. So I think it's replaced my lust for a Tuono, honestly.
Oh, nice. That's saying something, because
which is high praise. The Tuono for many years has been my favorite bike I've ever ridden, and it probably still is, but riding something and loving it is different than owning it for any sort of period of time.
Yeah, I like the Monster a lot. When we started thinking about which ones we wanted to ride today, the Monster was the first on my list. Not a bad little test ride loop that they have here out of Nashville Motos. I mean, there's a lot of residential area, you know, and it's not super twisty. But, I mean, you're in the middle of Nashville, so, well, west side of town.
Yeah, you gotta kind of pick, it's either this or highway or interstate.
Right.
As far as favorites for having ridden today, I think this has usurped the Desert X, so it's this, the Desert X, and the Multi. It's probably my top 3 today.
I would say for my top 3, it would be the Monster, the Multi, and then the Monster.
You can't pick 2 of the same.
Sure you can.
I love an L twin too. So the V-twin I usually ride is a 75-degree V-twin, so it's much more punchy and kind of builds into the RPM a lot harder. This is much more linear in how it delivers its power. So if you're looking for a sport bike but you don't want something crazy sporty, you've got to test a Monster out. Sounds good, runs good, looks good. It's hard to beat.